lovely
podcast
energy.
or something?
Well, now I guess.
You're so fun. Okay.
Thank you for speaking with me. We're hearing the truth that always comes through in your music.
Oh, thank you.
Which must have been a lot of fun to write with Benny.
Completely. I was so stuck musically. I didn't know where I wanted to go with my next album. I knew I wanted to do one, but it was just so wonderful to have him on my team. Like, he did an incredible job, and I respect him so much, and he just has excellent taste. So
100%.
telling him my stories and him telling me about his past and his stories, it was really special. So we combined it and made an album.
Yeah, it probably must be vulnerable, even though you're in a relationship. It feels like you've probably had a lot of vulnerable moments together, yet writing music together probably feels like a whole another step on top of some of the vulnerable steps in a relationship. It's something a lot of people in relationships never experience because you guys are doing these unique jobs.
Yeah,
and so
true.
I feel like it is this fun part of a relationship that maybe even helps you discover new things about each other that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Absolutely. It's Benny's confidence. You know, that kind of energy is so addictive to be around, and he just, I don't know, I just love him, that's all.
And the world loves him as well. I feel like people now, even though he's been making hits forever.
Since he was like 18.
Oh my God. And you look through his roster and you're like, oh, okay, so you wrote everything and you were producing everything. So it must have been really fun to do together. Was there one song in particular that you felt like you can remember back, the writing process, the producing of it was just the most fun to do?
Ooh, maybe a couple. Scared of Loving You was really adorable, and it wasn't even meant to be like a single or anything. It wasn't, but it just, we were singing it about each other, and it was very honest, so it kind of makes me tear up, even though it's like a cutesy little song.
It's so cute.
I know.
I wrote that it's one of my favorites on the
thank
album.
you.
I mean, what a beautiful way to end it too.
Yes.
Stripped back, but also his like genius production is still under there.
Totally.
But it's like where I feel like in that song specifically, we're zoned in on the lyrics and what you're saying, and what a beautiful like end to the story that you've told with this album. And that's what I really feel like the album is. It's a full storyline, especially down to the start with that opening track. Did you always know you wanted to start it in that way, in such a vulnerable, beautiful
Well, no,
way?
It was, again, I'm just going to brag about him all the time.
Please.
Benny saw the video online, and it was the last day I was shooting Wizards. And that was after over 100 episodes with these people that I grew up with. So it was pretty much, you know, the beginning for me. And at the same time, I was closing a chapter. So he thought it would be sweet, since Younger and Hotter is a reflection of my, you know, my past or insecurities. It was really important to him that he tell that story too.
Yeah, it feels like starting with that and then going right into Younger and Hotter. There's so many themes of like homecoming in this album that I also feel like homecoming, not necessarily to a place, but to your younger self.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly what we wanted, actually, for that song.
Well, you sure did it.
Well, thank
and
you.
it's woven in throughout the whole thing. And I think it's such a beautiful thing because we have seen you grow up as we've grown up as consumers as well. And as fans, we've seen you go through such a journey, and then hearing you talk about these things, whether it's returning home and in that first track, talking about like the crew of the show, you guys saw me grow up, but then having this nostalgia for even the Younger and Hotter version that we felt of ourselves that existed.
Totally. And I think that was what the message was meant to be, is that every girl, person, human being has felt insecure, and they've been to a house or a party, or, you know, and it's hard. Like I I get very insecure sometimes. I'm not as insecure as I was when I was younger. But yeah, there's always something shinier, there's always something better, and it doesn't that's not what I should be thinking about.
Yeah, but it's also hard because in the moment, that's the moments that we can look back on now where we can be so either self-critical or yearning for that past and be like, God, I was so this that I wish I was now. Yet in that moment, we weren't thinking, oh, I'm perfect. Like oh my God, early 20s. We're not walking around there being like, yeah,
we gotta figure it out.
yeah, got it figured out.
Like, no.
I'm an icon. Everything's amazing. And that, I feel like that's such a lovely way to kind of speak about it, because the song and the lyrics talk about something other than you being someone other than you being younger and hotter, but
Yeah.
I still feel the nostalgia that comes through.
Thank you.
In that song so beautifully too, which is then fun when we go right into Call Me When You Break Up after, because it's like, and now let's dance, but we're also still doing these emotional themes with like Gracie, who of course it must have been so fun to create with.
She is so just the best. She has the best energy. She's so creative. She wrote the verse. It was her idea to do an acoustic version that you can get on my website. It's soon, but it's very, I don't know. It was just a great experience, and she was the perfect person to do this song with.
The studio lights dimmed to a warm amber glow. Selena Gomez sat cross-legged on a vintage leather couch, her fingers nervously tracing the rim of her coffee cup. Across from her, Blanco, the Grammy-nominated producer who'd shaped hits for everyone from Ed Sheeran to Justin Bieber, was doing something unexpected. He wasn't hovering over a mixing board or frantically scribbling chord progressions. He was simply listening. This wasn't their first collaboration. Years earlier, Blanco had produced Same Old Love and Kill 'Em with Kindness for Gomez's 2015 album Revival. But this time felt different. Something had shifted in the air between them, and what started as a creative partnership would eventually blossom into something that would transform not just Gomez's music, but her entire relationship with her artistry. During a candid conversation on TikTok Radio IRL, Gomez made a revelation that stunned fans and industry insiders alike. She'd been feeling stuck musically, creatively paralyzed in a way that success and experience couldn't solve. Here was one of the world's biggest pop stars, with over 400 million Instagram followers and a discography spanning nearly 2 decades, admitting she'd lost her way. I felt like I was going through the motions, Gomez confessed, her vulnerability cutting through the typically polished veneer of celebrity interviews. The admission was brave, perhaps even dangerous in an industry that demands constant reinvention and relevant output. But it was also deeply human, a reminder that creative drought doesn't discriminate based on fame or fortune. The pressure had been mounting from all sides. Fans wanted the Selena they'd grown up with. Critics demanded evolution. Record executives needed hits. And somewhere in that cacophony of expectations, Gomez had lost touch with the very thing that made her want to make music in the first place, joy. Blanco's approach to breaking Gomez's creative block wasn't what anyone expected. There were no forced writing camps, no pressure cooker studio marathons, no desperate attempts to manufacture a hit. Instead, he created space, something precious and rare in the velocity-obsessed music industry. He made the studio feel like home, Gomez explained, her eyes lighting up as she recalled their sessions. Blanco's production lair, filled with vintage synthesizers, obscure vinyl records, and an impressive collection of hot sauce, became a sanctuary where experimentation wasn't just allowed, it was encouraged. But Blanco's genius extended beyond technical production prowess. He understood something fundamental about creativity that many producers miss: authentic art emerges from authentic emotion. So rather than pushing Gomez to chase trends or replicate past successes, he encouraged her to explore the raw, unfiltered feelings she'd been experiencing. What the public didn't know during those initial sessions was that Gomez and Blanco's relationship was evolving beyond professional collaboration. Their creative chemistry was igniting something deeper, a romantic connection that would eventually go public and send the internet into a frenzy. This wasn't just celebrity gossip fodder. The relationship fundamentally altered Gomez's creative process. For years, she'd written songs about heartbreak, betrayal, and healing from toxic relationships. Now, she was experiencing something entirely different: healthy, supportive love that didn't demand she diminish herself. "He sees me," Gomez said simply during the TikTok radio interview. Those 3 words carried the weight of someone who'd spent years feeling reduced to a headline, a tabloid narrative, or a social media phenomenon. Blanco saw the artist, the creator, the woman behind the brand. The transformation didn't happen overnight. Creative breakthroughs rarely do. But gradually, Gomez found herself experimenting with sounds and subjects she'd previously avoided. Blanco's influence pushed her toward more playful, experimental production, incorporating elements of hyperpop, bedroom pop, and even Latin influences that connected her to her heritage in fresh ways. More importantly, he helped her rediscover the childlike curiosity that makes great art possible. In one particularly revealing anecdote, Gomez described how Blanco would bring strange instruments into the studio, a theremin one day, a vintage mellotron the next, not because they necessarily fit the song they were working on, but because they sparked imagination. "He reminded me that music should be fun," Gomez reflected. It sounds almost absurdly simple, but for someone who'd been in the industry since childhood, who'd weathered public breakups, health battles, and relentless scrutiny, fun had become a foreign concept. Blanco's impact extended beyond individual songs. He helped Gomez restructure her entire approach to creativity. Instead of booking studio time months in advance and arriving with predetermined concepts, she began working more spontaneously, capturing inspiration when it struck rather than forcing it on a schedule. This shift represented a quiet rebellion against an industry that often treats artists like content machines. Gomez was reclaiming her creative autonomy, setting boundaries, and perhaps most radically, making music on her own terms. The result? Some of her most honest, experimental, and compelling work. Songs that felt less like calculated singles and more like intimate diary entries set to music. Tracks that showcased not just vocal performance but genuine emotional intelligence and artistic growth. As Gomez continues to evolve both personally and professionally, the lessons learned from this creative renaissance extend far beyond one relationship or one album cycle. She's discovered that being stuck isn't a permanent condition, it's often a signal that something needs to change, whether that's your environment, your collaborators, or your approach to the work itself. Blanco didn't save Gomez from her creative block. What he did was something far more valuable: he created the conditions where she could save herself. He offered partnership without possession, support without stifling, and love that expanded rather than limited her artistic vision. In an industry notorious for extracting everything from its stars while giving little in return, their story offers something refreshingly different: a reminder that the right collaboration, built on genuine connection and mutual respect, can unlock doors you didn't even know were closed. And perhaps that's the most compelling part of this story: it's still being written.